Welcome back to the Journey of Be. Today, I want to share with you something that has completely changed my life and I believe has the potential to change yours too. The power of rewriting your story. I still remember the moment when everything began to shift for me. Had a life awakening at 22 years old in Minnesota, and it basically caused me to move to Washington State. A few years later, it's a warm summer day that was overlooking the Puget Sound. The grass was green, and I suppose the energy that day was pretty good. But something inside me told me to write my story. And I opened up my laptop Word document, and I just started typing. And typically, because this was not the first time I had done that, but typically, when I would write my story, it was always the same pity party type of thing. You know, a long list of what I didn't have, what I couldn't do, how difficult life had been, growing up without money, always feeling like an outsider, and facing challenges that felt impossible to overcome. Those were some of the stories I had told myself. But on this day, something changed. As I wrote, I started to notice something I hadn't seen before. Something so simple yet so profound. I had always had enough. I had food, shelter, and clothing. I had a loving family, a dad who, despite struggling as a single parent, always did his best for my brother and me. And we had our grandmother who, despite her own challenges, helped raise us and taught us some valuable things like going to church, having a relationship with God, and we would also work with her. She was cleaning different businesses, and so we'd help clean businesses around the surrounding towns. These were not small things, they were foundational. They were enough as compared to my prior story of how rough around the edges my life always was. In school, I was never very popular, but I had a few solid friends. I wasn't a sports star, but I was part of wrestling and track. I wasn't the smartest in class, but I managed to pass all my subjects. Grew up definitely not rich, but I was rich in experiences. Looking back, incredible American experiences. Fishing, camping, trail bike riding, skateboarding all around town. Even some experiences I won't mention right now. Got into some trouble as well. Plenty of lessons. And so for the first time, as I was writing my story, I truly felt a sense of gratitude and also love for my family in a new light. I empathized with my dad, who I thought was very mean and strict growing up, and he may have been. But I saw now that he was my age when I was 4 or 5, 25. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, roughly. And I couldn't imagine raising 2 boys as a single, So props to my dad for that. He did the best that he could with what he knew and with what he had. And although I was pretty miserable for most of my childhood, at that moment I could see that I was truly blessed in so many ways. I mean, he wasn't on drugs. He didn't drink a lot of alcohol. He didn't smoke cigarettes. Those are major. So that moment of writing out my story marked truly a turning point in my life. I began to realize something that had always been there, but I hadn't been able to see. Essentially, I was the sculptor of my own life. My story wasn't something that happened to me. It was something I could shape. When I reframed the narrative from one of scarcity to one of abundance, everything changed. I started to see that the life I wanted was possible, I'd always thought I was destined for mediocrity because I never even allowed myself to dream. I didn't think I was capable of anything meaningful. I thought that, Olympic athletes were so rare, and they are, but we all have our artwork that is our gift. So when I learned to reframe my story, everything shifted. I realized that dreams, no matter how big, are not only possible, but they are achievable with the right actions and mindset. My dreams started to grow exponentially. What used to seem like a far off, impossible goal, like making $1 million, suddenly felt doable. When you start to believe in your ability to create, to grow, and to achieve, the possibilities expand beyond what you thought was possible. In fact, I now see that it's not just about money, it's about the power of belief. When you shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance, you unlock the power to create the life you've always wanted. That's why I'm here today, to invite you to take a second look at your own story. What are the beliefs you hold about yourself? What narrative are you telling yourself? Is it one of limitation or possibility? Is it one of scarcity or abundance? If you feel stuck, like you've hit a wall, or like life is happening to you rather than for you, then I encourage you to write your story down, just like I did. Take a moment to reflect on the good that's already in your life, the things you might have overlooked or taken for granted. Reframe your story and watch how it starts to transform your life. Remember that you are the sculptor of your life. You have the power to rewrite your story. And when you change the way you see your life, you change the way you experience it. I've learned this over my journey. I'm excited to share it with you. This is why I started the Journey of Be, to help people like myself embrace their potential and start living the life you deserve. So, what will your story be? I invite you to start today by reframing your past, embracing your present, and creating the future you know you deserve.